So keeping with the tradition of looking at my grandmother's recipes, I'm looking through this box of old recipes from my grandmother. Now this is my favorite room in the house. It is my library, and I have this special box where I keep all my grandmother's old recipe books and notes. It's so fun to see all of her little notes and handwriting. Some of these are, quite old. I did pick a book that looked pretty interesting. It's missing the cover, but that adds to the charm. So this looks like it might be from the 50s, this book. And as you can see, I have some handwritten recipes, some notes that my grandmother left me, some super cool recipes. But I did turn the page to the cookie aisle, and I found these really cool cookies. They're called Hermit cookies, and they are a drop cookie recipe. So if you want to pause here, you can read the entire recipe and save it for yourself. Obviously, I have my tea there, and this is my grandmother's baking shelf, so I'm just adding all the ingredients here. Like I said, you can stop the film and look at the recipe there, but it's just flour, sugar, salt, nuts, dried fruit, a little bit of baking soda, and mixing all the dry ingredients together, making sure everything is nice and coated. So I did do my wet and dry ingredients separately. I have my recipe book right beside me as I'm looking at this. There's a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, and a little bit of allspice in this recipe, so it makes for really, really delicious recipe. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cream together some loosely packed brown sugar and some butter, and then I realized this bowl is a little bit too small, so I got a bigger bowl, and now I'm going to mix it, and I want to mix this till it's nice and creamy. Now I made the mistake of not letting my butter sit out long enough, so it was a little bit more crumbly than I would have liked, but in the end it did come out really nice and creamy as I blended it all together. It just took a little bit of effort letting it sit out for just a little bit longer so that butter could melt. I did use my hand mixer for this one. I'm not going old school. The other mixer is fun, but this does make things a lot faster. So now I'm just beating my eggs till they're nice and thick. Now because I have to add the eggs to this mixture slowly, I put a little towel down, and that does help keep the bowl in place while I mix with one hand and pour in the eggs together. And as you see, I am making this really nice and fluffy. The recipe does ask you to add these ingredients quite slowly, blending really, really well in between adding. So there, all of my eggs are in there now, and as you can see, I have this really nice smooth batter. And I'm going to add my wet and dry ingredients together, and I'm just going to get it a mix so it's nice and incorporated. So the last thing that this recipe asks for is a little bit of vanilla, and I have pure vanilla extract, so you're going to see me adding that right here and then remixing that. Then we're just going to drop the cookies right in place. So this recipe actually is supposed to give you 3 dozen of these cookies. Now I made my cookies probably a little bit bigger than that, so I ended up with 3 trays of cookies, but not a dozen on each tray. I think I had like 10 or 11 on each tray, so almost there. So I have those, and I did put those in the oven. It's 350, and they don't actually take that long. So depending on your oven, so I don't have a convection oven, but depending on your oven, it could be anywhere from 16 to 20 minutes. There's my 3 trays going in the oven, and here they are coming out, and they're a really cute irregular shape for a cookie, so they're a little bit rustic. I actually really like that. It's a really fun, now you could mold these if you wanted to, but they are quite sticky. So you might want to wear gloves and make sure those gloves have a little bit of water on them if you did want to make them uniform. But I do like the rustic look of these, and because I can't resist a little chocolate, I made a white chocolate ganache. White chocolate ganache is literally just the white chocolate chips melted and then add a warm cream to it, so it has this consistency, and it does harden for you later on. And then I'm just going to take a drizzle of chocolate ganache and add that on top. And to make things even more fun, I actually inverted this as well, and as you can see, I'm going to have the chocolate switched. So in the next show here, you're going to see the chocolate switch. I put dark chocolate on the bottom and then my white chocolate on top, and they come out like this. Here's my little time lapse of my tray, and look at those delicious cookies, and there's my tea. Can't have cookies without a lovely tea. So this is Chef Chance, and these are my grandmother's Hermit